So, the third quarter results are in, or so they say, and the annualized GDP growth is 3.5% for Q3. Well, first of all, I heard all sorts of stuff on the radio waves today. They said that the economy grew 3.5% in the third quarter. Of course, it's annualized, so it's less than 1% in the base case scenario. But let's look into the definition of GDP and how they calculate it, because most people think, oh, things have gotten 3.5% better in the worst case if they completely misunderstood the news, or things have gotten about 3/4% better. Let's look at what really happened. The GDP is calculated by adding consumption, private investment, government spending, plus the difference between exports and imports, right? What do you think grew out of all those things that we put together to get the GDP number? Right, government spending. But here's the thing. The government spending means spending the dollars that the government doesn't have. They've tripled the deficit in 1 year. The deficit now stands at what, $1.4 trillion? So they're jacking up the economy 1%. Wow, in 1 quarter by spending $1.4 trillion in a year. The $1.4 trillion that they don't have. So they're going to have to either forcefully take that money in the form of taxes from you people who make money, or they're going to have to borrow it, which is already very difficult because it's difficult to make payments on the debt that's already outstanding, not to mention adding new debt, or they're just going to print it. If they print it, they rob every one of you who holds money in the bank, right? Anyway, it's all around bad news. No matter what they tell you, 3.5% annualized GDP growth for the third quarter is bullshit. Okay? It doesn't mean that things are getting better. In fact, they are getting worse. Think about how much worse things have gotten with private hiring, private investment, and think about how much money the government is spending, and they've offset all those losses in other areas by jacking up government spending, and all they get is the measly less than 1% in a quarter so-called growth. That's not the growth of the economy, it's the growth of the government. And again, they grow the government by spending money they don't have, which they later will either take or print or borrow. And all three scenarios are bad for you if you work for a living. That's it. See you soon.